Playing for Keeps by Alexandria Bellefleur. I got to read an early copy of this, and so it has only been a couple of weeks between when I read her newest book, The Devil She Knows, and when I read this, her newest book, Playing for Keeps. So it's only been a couple of weeks for me, but in real-time publishing schedule, The Devil She Knows came out in late October, and Playing for Keeps comes out January 6, 2026, so there was 2.5 months between the releases of these books. Slow down, girl! So we're back with another Alexandria Bellefleur book, sooner than I expected, and this one is in my upper echelon, I think. This one's pretty good. It's cheesy, not for everyone, but I enjoyed it. This is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce fanfiction. I mean, it is, let's be real. But Taylor and Travis are side characters, not our main characters. Our main characters are their two publicists, who are very stressed out because they're managing Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and they need to blow off some steam and have some connection. You see where I'm going with this? It's not literally Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. The pop star is named Lyric Adair, and the football guy is named Cash Karan. That sounds like a football name. But Taylor and Travis are the side characters here, and they actually do have a cute little romance. We get some more of them in the back half, but I was actually enjoying it, even though I'm clearly here for the sapphic romance. But Taylor and Travis were cute. They were doing their own thing. They get a little bit more involved. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a sequel to this about them. Maybe I would, because I guess their story wraps up pretty well. But I think maybe you could do a sequel. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a single point of view novel. Our main character is Poppy Peterson. She is the football player's publicist. They were childhood friends. He's her best friend. She has a backstory where she was sort of neglected as a child. She had struggles with alcohol dependence, and now she's gotten sober, she's gotten cleaned up, and her best friend has given her this job, pays her way too much. They live together, and he's really, taken a chance on her and helped her get to this point in her life, and she's really trying to do right by him. She really wants to be a good publicist, and she admires the best publicist of all time, Lyric Adair's publicist, who's known for being very cutthroat and efficient and really manipulative, but in a good way, in that she can manipulate a sort of media story around the pop star Lyric Adair and, really control the narrative and, really look out for Lyric, and she's a great publicist. Poppy really admires her, and then they end up meeting because Cash has a crush on Lyric Adair, and then they meet and fall in love, and so the publicists are like, okay, now we've got a celebrity romance to deal with. How are we gonna do this? Let's collaborate on this. And we immediately get the chemistry between these two publicists, and I like that. This is one of the steamier Alexandra Bellefleur novels, especially compared to The Devil She Knows, which had a little bit of spice toward the end, but that book was about a woman who was trying to get her ex back, and so the romance in that is actually kind of secondary. This is very much a romance novel, very much romance is the forefront, and the relationship between these two characters that is currently building. And they immediately have chemistry. You really feel a dynamic here. Even before Poppy does, it's not super drawn out, but it's also not, immediate. You get some vibes from Rosalind. Rosalind is the love interest here. She's the sort of authoritative publicist. You get some vibes that she's flirting with Poppy very early on, and I like that, but Poppy doesn't realize it right away, so there's not an immediate jump into action here, but it doesn't take that long to get into it. I liked the build-up. And the spice, great. They start an immediate, no strings attached kind of relationship, where they're just gonna blow off some steam, They sort of understand each other. They understand the NDAs and the secrecy that needs to be dealt with here. They get each other, and they're both hot queer women who are single. It works out. And I think they actually have interesting bedroom dynamics here. So Poppy is a fucking pillow princess. Poppy Peterson, the pillow princess. Which, low-key might have been intentional. I don't think the word pillow princess is used here, but that wouldn't surprise me if Alexandria Bellefleur thought of that. Cheesy-ass alliteration. And Rosalind is equally authoritative in bed, very in control here. So there's definitely a top-bottom dynamic going on here. It's pretty hot and it's pretty distinct. It's not the most generic sex scenes you've ever read. It's not. It's pretty good. And we get several of them, and they're all a little bit different. There's something here. If you're into smut, you'll like this. But it also isn't just smut. There's good romance here, and there's good like plot stuff with the drama of the celebrity relationship and like things getting out in the media. Not every chapter, but most chapters start with like a tweet exchange or like an article written in some sort of gossip column or maybe a real magazine publication about, you know, what's happening online with the fandom, what people are speculating about the relationship. The publicists become, you know, sort of a fandom gossip point as well. Like, they both appear on a red carpet at one point, and it's like, oh, they have chemistry. Some of the fans start shipping them. This is kind of cheesy. I mean, the whole book is cheesy. This is a cheesy romance novel, but that's exactly what I expect out of an Alexandria Bellefleur book and just this genre in general. So, like, you do need to tolerate a certain level of cheese here. If you're lactose intolerant, you won't like this book. But if you like cheese, this is a good amount of cheese. It's not overly cheesy either. So this hits the sweet spot of what I expected out of this book. But there is some cheesiness, especially in like these Twitter text exchanges. Some people will think this is cringy. Again, you have to be in the mood for this. You have to know what you're getting into. So we've got some very contemporary fandom Twitter speak going on. There's another fucking in front of my salad reference. In one of the usernames is like at in front of my salad, which is probably someone's real Twitter username. And I like the idea of that person reading this book and being like, that guy has my username. This is mine. This is me. My account is tweeting this. But The Devil She Knows also had a reference to fucking in front of my salad, so that must have been a real big meme for Alexandria Bellefleur. She must have liked that one. Again, dated, cheesy, but like, it kind of works. I kind of like it. Some people won't, but I'm totally fine with it. So there's fandom gossip drama, there's media drama, there's relationship drama between the football player and the pop star, but actually there's not a ton of contrived relationship drama between our two love interests, which I liked. I won't spoil it. At the end, there's like a kind of dumb third act breakup. Not even a third act breakup, it's like the last hour breakup. But that gets resolved how you expect it to, and also, I didn't hate it. I mean, that happens in a lot of books, and for most of this book, that sort of drama wasn't happening, and I liked that. I thought the relationship here and the communication was actually pretty nice. So obviously our main character, Poppy, catches feelings for Rosalind, even though they're supposed to be just a no-strings-attached sex arrangement. And I will say one of my criticisms was also that this goes from sex to love, like, instantaneously for Poppy. Like, there's literally just a switch flipped where suddenly she realizes that she has feelings for Rosaline, and in a scene where, like, nothing really happens to make her feel that way, it's just like, oh, the narrative wants her to be in love now, so now we have feelings. And you sort of expect this to cause drama. Like, once this gets revealed, Rosalind's gonna be like, no, I don't want feelings, you know, I'm the hard ass here. I'm kind of cold and distant. And, you know, I said I wanted no strings attached, and, you know, we're gonna break up over that, even though I also, like, clearly will have feelings by the end of the book. They don't do that. There isn't that contrived scene, which I was really expecting. Rosalind is just an adult in this situation where she's sleeping with this woman and they really get each other because they have the same jobs and they're really able to talk to each other and they just get along. And she's like, yeah, you know what? I'm starting to get feelings too. And then they have a nice romance, and that's just like responsible adults talking to each other. What a concept. But whatever, I liked that their relationship wasn't the main cause of drama. This actually isn't super drama filled until like the last hour, and there's like a moment that's like super like tense, and I'm like, damn, I didn't see that coming. Are they gonna reconcile this in time for the end of the book? They do, of course. But also the early copy of the audiobook I had, it was like, I don't know, like the timing was messed up, and so when I got to 100% complete, there was still like half an hour or more of the book left, and I'm like, oh, that's why I thought we were running out of time here. So the book ended up being like 110% complete when I was done with it on NetGalley. Weird NetGalley quirk will not affect the final product at all. But I literally thought that twist came in like the last half hour of the book, and I'm like, they're not gonna wrap this up in time. They do. There's more time than I thought there was. Oh, but yeah, the final twist, it is tense. It involves the football player and the pop star. and not our main characters. But our main characters are sort of collateral because, you know, they're siding with their best friends. Rosalind also has a great relationship with Lyric. Like took her in when Lyric was a young like teenage pop star who was being taken advantage of by her family. And so they're really close. They're like sisters. And then Cash and Poppy are also like brother and sister. And so the publicists are very tied to their respective management business partners. And so if there were a breakup, not saying there's a breakup, but if there were a breakup between Lyric and Cash, maybe the publicists would also have to distance themselves, and maybe that causes some drama. No spoilers or anything, hypothetically. And that was a little contrived, that the publicists couldn't stay together if perhaps the other couple involved here broke up. Perhaps. But like, whatever. That's pretty staple of the genre. It works out the way you think it would. There's also not too much stuff about like Poppy's backstory. There's a little bit, there's enough to like give her some depth, and it comes up just a couple of times, but it doesn't take away from the main story of the publicity stuff or of the romance. If anything, it helps the romance because Rosalind's a really good partner and really supportive. So Poppy's sober, I liked that. There's like a really good scene early on where she's at the football stadium and some jackass spills his beer all over her, and then she smells like beer. And then she's having a moment where she's like, if I go out there smelling like beer, everyone's gonna think that I've relapsed. And Rosalind helps her clean up, and you know, that's like a sexy scene where it's like, I'm gonna give you my clothes to wear, and also you take your clothes off, and then I help you emotionally. That's good. That's a good little romantic point. I liked the stuff about Poppy's sobriety, and then like it's set around like Thanksgiving, Christmas, end of the year. It covers a few months, but we're towards the end of the year, and so Poppy goes to see her family, and then we hear some stuff about her family, which doesn't last too long, because again, I didn't care that much about that, but it was nice. It gave this character some depth. I think what also gave this character depth is that this is a single point of view novel. I saw some other reviews that wanted Rosalind's point of view, because a lot of both Alexandria Bellefleur books and romance novels in general both have the main characters, the main love interests, have point of views in the novel. And some people wanted that out of this. I didn't. I think I preferred that it was just Poppy. Because one, I felt like I really got to know Poppy, and also it gave some tension, because we don't know exactly what Rosalind is thinking 100% of the time. It adds tensions to scenes like where we realize that Rosalind does have feelings and is willing to admit them. Because again, I didn't expect that. I'm not in Rosalind's head, so I'm not hearing her go on that emotional journey of, you know what, I think I would tell Poppy that I have emotional feelings towards her as well, and this isn't just a sexual arrangement for me. And so when that happens, I'm like surprised, and in a good way. And so because a lot of this novel isn't super duper tense, that mystery, that small element of mystery, which really isn't even a mystery because you know eventually they're going to get together at the end of the book. But we have these small moments of mystery where we don't exactly know how Rosalind will react to every little thing. And that adds more tension and more suspense to what is a very much not super suspenseful novel, which is fine. I don't really want that out of a romance novel anyway. I just really like these characters, and I liked seeing their romance. I liked the sexy fun times. I liked the sort of vibe they were in, like with this media, celebrity, kind of gossip vibes. It's definitely an atmosphere. And if you're into that kind of story, like a sort of celebrity adjacent romance story, this will have what you're looking for. I ended up rating this 5 stars. I sort of rated up from like a 4.5, because I don't think it's perfect. But really, my critiques with this are the final conflict is a little surprising in some good and some bad ways. Poppy just like falls in love. A switch is flipped randomly, and it's like, okay, we're going for an emotional arc now. I feel like I had one other thing that I was gonna say that I've forgotten, and so the third problem I had with this book was so meaningless that I forgot about it. So this measures up well for what it is. I'm not giving this a 5-star compared to all of the greatest literature of all time. I'm giving this a 5-star under the notion that this is a cheesy romance novel, and how well does it succeed at being the cheesy romance novel it wants to be. It succeeds. It's good. If you want this genre, this is a good installation of it. So yeah, this comes out January 6th, which is probably when I'll post this video, so I guess it's out already if you're watching this. I do think this stacked up well in the canon of Alexandria Bellefleur, who writes too many books. I'm sure we'll be back here in like 2 weeks for another Alexandria Bellefleur book that I didn't know existed. I think my favorite was the one about the roommates. It's not written in the stars, but it's in the Written in the Stars series. I liked that one. I read that in 2024, so I don't remember it super well, but that was also like one of the sexier novels, and I remember the characters really had chemistry. This one's up there. I think it's a little different than The Devil She Knows. The Devil She Knows is less steamy and less romance focused and more like, it's more just kind of fun, and there's a fantasy twist, and it's more about like self-growth and a personal journey than a romance, even though it's still a romance novel. So it kind of depends what you're looking for. But this one was pretty good. Maybe the roommate one is still my favorite, even though I can't remember the title. But this one's quite solid. I like this one. I like these characters. So yeah, that's it. Alexandria Bellefleur still got it. I'm sure she'll probably put out another book in like 2 weeks. We'll just do this again forever and ever, I guess. I do admire that, though. I like a prolific author. Even if she's not writing literally the greatest literature of all time, if you can pump out the cheesy sapphic romance novels, I will keep reading them. So subscribe for more of those videos. More to come.